everyone, I am Nikita Murthy, Faculty of Information Science and Engineering, Maharaja Institute of Technology, Mysore. Today we are going to study a topic called DNS, that is Domain Name System. The topic is DNS, the Internet Directory Service. So, DNS is nothing but a domain name system. DNS stands for domain name system. We, being the human beings, can be identified in various ways, isn't it? We can also be identified with our names. In college, we can also be identified with USN numbers. If we consider the whole of India, we can also identify it using Aadhaar number, isn't it? Because these are all unique to each person. Name cannot be unique, but the USN is unique. Aadhaar number is very unique. In the same way, if there is a network, and there are so many hosts or computer, we want to identify a particular computer which of our interest uniquely, isn't it? How are we going to identify it? Using host names. It can also be identified using host names, and it can also be identified using IP address. What are these host names? Now, we identify a few websites also, isn't it? Facebook.com, education.com, MIT-Mysore.in, Google.com. These are all the examples of a host name. So, these host names, for example, google.com, facebook.com, these are very readable by the human beings. These things can be identified or remembered by the human beings. Does the machine identify this? Does the machine understand google.com? No, right? How does the machine understand? Using IP address. So, these are the examples of a IP address. If we give this IP address, the machine or the server will understand. If we just provide google.com, it does not understand, isn't it? But can the human being remember this? Instead of google.com, can a person remember 255.110.11.1? It is quite difficult, isn't it? But human needs host names, machine needs IP address. But who is converting the host name to IP address? There should be some mechanism, isn't it? That mechanism is only a DNS. So, DNS is the process which will convert the host name to IP address. So, the first topic which you are going to study under this DNS is services provided by DNS. So, DNS is nothing but a process which converts the host name to IP address, because host names are understandable by the human and the IP addresses are understandable by the machine. To fill this gap, the DNS will convert the host name to IP address. They say the DNS is nothing but a distributed database. It is nothing but a database. That means it's a storage of information which is distributed. It's not centralized. It is distributed over several servers. Where it is implemented? It is implemented on DNS servers. They say DNS is a distributed database implemented in DNS servers. They also say it is a application layer protocol. That means since DNS is converting the host names to IP address, it is an application layer protocol. This will help us to ask the query from this distributed database. This DNS server is also implemented on several protocols like HTTP, SMTP, FTP, etc. Now, how does this work? How does the other protocols are using DNS means? Let us take one example. That means we want to search a browser. That is why we are providing the URL called someschool.edu. So, we are providing, we want a website called someschool.edu. That is why we are providing the URL called someschool.edu. How does this DNS works means? Since it is a website, of course, we need a HTTP protocol to transfer the message from HTTP client to the HTTP server. But DNS will, what does it does? Whenever we have provided with the URL, the client side of the user agent, it will run the DNS application. And then what happens? This DNS application will extract the browser name from this URL, and then what it does? It will send it to the DNS server. And then after the DNS server provides the appropriate IP address which is attached to someschool.edu, it will send it back to the DNS application which is running on the user agent, and then the DNS will provide the particular IP address to the machine, and the machine will establish a TCP connection with that particular server, with HTTP server where this IP address is residing. DNS not only provides this, its main task just by converting the host name to IP address, it also provides other services. What are those other services? The first one is host aliasing. What is host aliasing? Aliasing is nothing but, we say a person can also be called with several names, isn't it? Like Bob alias Bob Shankar alias Bob Mahendra, something like that. That means same person is identified with different names. Why is it a host is necessary to alias means? Let us take an example. Now, suppose let us assume the host name is relay1.westcoastenterprise.com. Don't you think to type also, to remember also, it is very lengthy and difficult? What we will do? We will alias it to shorter names which is easeable. Let us say relay1.com. So, since we have aliased it, it is very easeable for a human being to remember also, to type also, it is very feasible to use. That is why it also provides host aliasing. next service which it is providing is mail server aliasing. Not only it aliases the host names, it also aliases the mail addresses also. Let us say if my ID is bob@gmail.com, it is very easy, isn't it? Now suppose if it is very difficult to remember, let us say relay 1 dot west coast enterprise at gmail.com. So, if this is the email address, it is very hard to remember, isn't it? It is very difficult. What it does? It will just alias it. It can alias it to relay1 at gmail.com. So, see, it is very easy to remember now. That is why it also helps to alias the mail addresses. The third services which it is providing is load distribution. Now, suppose there are so many servers, but our network is here and it will be using only this server. What happens? All the clients which are requesting, it will all be answered using this a single server, but the load on this server is very high. So, if this crashes, the whole system goes down. Not only that, since there is so much load, its performance will become very low. So, DNS server, what does it does means, it will distribute this load to other servers also. With this load distribution, performance also increases, reliability also increases. The next topic which we are going to study is overview of how DNS works. So, if we take the simple design of a DNS system, domain name system, what does it does? When we provide the URL or the host name, the client side will establish or it will start the DNS application. The DNS application will extract the browser name and it will send that browser name to the DNS server, and the DNS server will send back the reply as IP address of that host name, and after getting that host name, your DNS will establish the TCP connection to the HTTP server where that host name is residing. But this is a very simple design. By hearing this, we see it is very simple to design, but it is not. A DNS is a black box. Black box means it is nothing but it is not simple as its look. It is not simple as it looks. That means it is very complicated design. It is not as we think it is. It is not very simple which you are seeing over here. In the simple design, what happens? We always see only a single DNS server. What are the disadvantages of having a single DNS server is? The first one is single point failure. That means if the whole system is relying on a single server and if that server crashes because of some reason, the whole system will go down. So, this is the one major disadvantage. The second disadvantage is traffic volume. What does this traffic volume means? As I said, if whole network is depending on a single server, means all of those clients requests has to be fulfilled by that server only. Since there is so much overhead, the performance obviously will come down. The third disadvantage is distance centralized database. That means if there is only a single server for whole continent. Now, suppose for Asia continent, the DNS server is located in India. Now, suppose from other country, if it wants to change the host name to IP address, what happens? If the people in China or Japan wants to change the host name to IP address, what they have to do? They have to send directly to the DNS server which is located in India, which is very far, which is very distance. What happens? It will be traveling so far. There is a security issue also, there could be network crash also, and the request may not be received also. All these problems will arise if we have a centralized database. The next fourth disadvantage we could see is maintenance. So, if we have a single server, means it has to have all the IP address of all the host names in a network, isn't it? That means it has to store so much of information. Not only that, it has to update every now and then with the new host names or new IP addresses. So, maintaining a single server could be very costly also. The only solution to the centralized database is to have a distributed database in the DNS system. The only solution is distributed hierarchy database. This database has 3 levels. The first one is root DNS servers. Second one is top level domain or TLD servers. Third one is authoritative. So, this database hierarchy is divided into 3 levels: root DNS servers, top level domain or TLD server, third one is authoritative DNS server. As you could see in the diagram, the top level is the root DNS servers, which has all the root which is the root, and it contains so many servers, and the next level to the middle level is called top level domain servers. Here what happens, it is for a particular domain, it has a particular server. It could be for education domain, it has an education server, or a social media domain, it has a social media server, like this. In the middle level you could see the domain, top level domain servers, and then in the last level is the authoritative DNS servers, where for a particular publicly accessible site we have a publicly accessible authoritative server. That is means a lower level host names, could be facebook.com, google.com, all these comes in authoritative DNS servers. Now, let us say here is India and here is the Japan. Okay? That means India is one network, Japan is another network, and the DNS server is located in Japan. So, if India wants to convert the host name or to host aliasing, whatever it wants to do, it has to contact the DNS server in the Japan. So, instead of having this, we can also have a local DNS server which is local to our network. That means we are going to study about local DNS server. So, instead of traveling from one network to another network again and again and asking for the IP addresses, it is better to have a local DNS server which has all the information regarding all the hosts in the particular network. For example, if this is one network, if this is another network, instead of contacting the DNS server in the another network, we can always have a DNS server which is local to our network and which has all the information which is residing in this network. As you could see in the diagram, here we are showing a few example how root DNS server, how top level domain servers and authoritative server will interact with the local DNS server. So, here a host name called sys.poly.edu wants to have the URL or the browser, it wants to have the browser which is other and under the authoritative DNS server, that is gia.cs.umass.edu. So, what it does, this host, requesting host, it will first contact the local DNS server which is in its network. This local DNS server will first ask the root DNS server. It will say that the host, a particular host is asking for a IP address of this particular browser. What does it does? That root DNS server will reply back the top level domain TLD server's IP address, saying that contact this TLD server, he will help you out. And then your local DNS server, again it will contact the TLD server. The TLD server, again it will reply back the IP address of the authoritative DNS server where that requesting browser is present. It will say to the local DNS server that, look, you take this IP address of the authoritative DNS server, it will help you out with the IP address which you are asking. And then your local DNS server will, again it will contact with the authoritative DNS server, and then authoritative DNS server, it will reply back with the IP address of the requesting browser. And after receiving the IP address, your local DNS server, it is giving it to the requesting host. Don't you think it's very hectic? First the request has to go to the local DNS server, local DNS server asks the root and root should reply with the TLD server, and local DNS server again asks the TLD server, and the TLD server again it will reply to the local DNS server, again the local DNS server will ask the authoritative DNS server, and the DNS server will reply back with the IP address which you are opting, and then after getting the reply, that local DNS server will give it to the requesting host. So, only solution to this problem is recursive queries. Instead of local server being asked to all the servers, we can use the alternative option called recursive queries. As you could see in the diagram, the requesting host will send the requesting browser to the local DNS server. The local DNS server will ask the root. A root will contact the TLD server where that requesting browser is present, and that TLD server will contact the authoritative server where that browser is present, and then it will reply the IP address of the requesting browser to the TLD server again. TLD server will reply back to the root, and then root will contact the local DNS server, and after getting the reply, the local DNS server will reply back to the requesting host. Don't you think this is much better than the previous one? Yes, this is one of the much better, but still the developers say the first method is very efficient than the second one. The next topic which you are going to study is DNS caching. So, the very best option for the problems which you saw earlier is DNS caching. Instead of local server asking again and again the root server, the DNS server, a local DNS server could have a cache. It can have a cache, a memory where all the repeatedly asked or recently asked browser IP addresses, it can store it over here. Whenever the host in this network is asked, it can reply back immediately instead of asking the root. Next topic which you are going to study is DNS records and messages. That means, whenever the DNS server replies to the DNS application, it will send the resource record. It will send the resource record, or we can also call it as RR. So, the replies which the DNS server is providing, it will provide resource record where all the information is provided. A resource record is nothing but a 4 tuple field. It contains 4 different fields. What are those? Name, value, type and TTL. TTL is nothing but time to live. TTL means time to live. That means what is the amount of time, how much amount of time this resource record is going to live, and that means from birth to death, what is the time? That time we call it as TTL. As of now, we will ignore this TTL, we will just concentrate on name, value and type. So, as you could see in the text, based on the type value, we are going to decide name and value. What is the type? Based on that, the name and value changes. The first one, if type is A, the name is host name and the value is IP address. That means this is the typical host name to IP address task. That means if type is A, the value name will be host name and the value will be IP address. If type is NS, if type is NS, the name will be the domain name. The name will be the domain name and the value will be the host name of a authoritative DNS server. That means host name of a authoritative DNS server where that IP address which you want to obtain is present. That means if the type is NS, here what happens, instead of getting the IP address directly, we are getting the host name of the authoritative DNS server. The third one, if type is CNAME, if type is CNAME, then here aliasing is happening, host name aliasing is happening. So, and suppose whatever we want to alias, whatever the original name, it will be in the value and the new name, the aliased name will be in the name. That means original name we call it as a canonical name, the value will be the canonical name and the name will be the new aliased name if the type is CNAME. If the type is MX, here also the alias is happening only for the male servers. CNAME is for other servers, MX is for only male servers. The canonical name will be present in the value and name will be the aliased name for that canonical name. Next topic which you are going to study is about DNS messages. That means a DNS application will request a IP address and the DNS server will reply. Both these messages, request and reply, both have same format. Both the request and reply messages in the DNS have the same format. So, as you could see in the diagram, this is the general format of a DNS message. The first 12 bytes is the header field, where the first field in the header field is the identification. This identification will identify the query. That means, if it is a request, what is the question being asked, it will be identified here. The same identification has to be matched or it has to mapped with the reply message also to identify what is the reply for that particular message. So, there are so many number of flag fields also we could see. In these flag fields, there is to identify whether the particular message is a query or a reply. If it is a query, we will set the flag to 0. If it is a reply, we will set it back to 1. So, using these flag numbers, we can identify whether the message is a query or a reply message. The next section is the question section. The question means here what are the question we are asking, what is our request, what do we want as a reply. That question will be asked in the question section and the reply for that question will be stored in the next section, that is a reply section. The next section is authoritative. That means it will contains the all information about the authoritative DNS server. That means where the IP address is residing, that authoritative DNS servers information will be stored in the authoritative, and the next is any additional information which we want, that will be stored in the additional information section. With this, the topic of DNS server is finished. Thank you.